there are things that we can do, and it's to your point about the universal basic income, a federal jobs guarantee, and then also providing the resources and social structures to offset living conditions, right? There's one of the proposals I have is a school to work pipeline, meaning you go to school for free, so long as that school, that education, whether it's a certificate or a bachelor's degree, is in a program that is in demand in your community, your state, your country, what have you. The state will then offer to pay your moving expenses and relocation expenses to get there. And it will guarantee that you have a job to wherever it is you're going to go when you have that degree. This prevents people from getting degrees that they can't find jobs with. Not to say that there are useless degrees. By all means, if 13th century French literature is your passion, go get that degree. But it's not likely to get you a job. That being said, maybe there are jobs, but not in Ohio or Arkansas, but maybe somewhere in California, Florida, or even help you to move to France, right? That's what the school to work pipeline will achieve, is allow you as an individual to pursue an education and a degree and a skill, and then find gainful employment thereafter. As far as the social constructs, that's very simply solved by universal health care. Now, Rodolfo mentioned the $700 billion to defense industry could be going to literally anything else, and I am 1,000% on board with that. First of all, the overhead cost of the military budget is already $70 billion just flat out. And then you add all of the increased overhead inflation. Like when a screw costs, 10 cents at Lowe's, but it's $2,000 for the Navy.
I know.
There's
or a hammer costs $500, something.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's between $100 and $200 billion of waste currently in existence in the defense budget. Now, would I still be okay with a $700 billion defense budget if that meant going to the troops, their families, modernizing equipment, modernizing all that stuff? Absolutely. But until that happens, it's waste and can go elsewhere. Now, universal education, depending on which research you look at, it's anywhere between $67 to $127 billion annually for every student that's currently enrolled. That's how much it costs them. There's $2 trillion and growing tuition debt. So first, forgive the debt outright, period.
Yep.
Done. And destroyed, if, ands, or buts.
It's $1.4 trillion right now.
Right. So the 67 to 100 something billion, that's nothing. That's the overhead and defense budget spending. That's also how much is already being allocated in the federal budget for education assistance. So if you literally take that instead of supplementing it and making it actually the cost, you've already solved that problem. Secondly, that's what it was prior to the 70s or the 70s and prior, something like that. Education was pennies on the dollar. You could work a summer, a month, and then pay for it. That's where we should be going back. Same thing with healthcare. Prior to Nixon and that act that I can't think of right now, it was illegal to profit off of healthcare. We need to go back to that. Now, how do you pay for all this, right? Well, again, we already do. Literally, we already do. With Medicare and Medicaid, we cover the cost of operating expenses and thus healthcare in this country. Because the big argument is, well, how can you afford it? It's like, listen, insurance companies are the third-party vendor that we don't need to be paying in the first place.
Yes.
That account for over $2 trillion of waste or excess cost in the first place, on top of the fact that we need to pay out of pocket.
But Sam, not to cut you off, but what do you, in the 1930s, FDR, in order to implement the New Deal, determined that it was going to take a major tax hike on the richest people. Don't you think that that is going to have to happen if we're going to be able to solve some of these problems? I mean, I don't think. Do you think it's just going to be as simple as moving, being more efficient with the budget that we already have? I think the costs now are so astronomical that I don't know if we're going to be able to do that without raising the taxes, at least on the richest people.
So, as much as I'm not opposed, well, I'm sorry, Rodolfo, if you want to jump in there.
Yeah, Rodolfo, you want to jump in there?
Sure. So Yeah, this is always a difficult topic. Taxes, of course. What
Yeah.
is the proper amounts of taxes? So I am trying to. So I am not an economist.
Right.
I was trained in psychology. So I'm trying to learn from different sources, especially economics. So I noticed there's one particular economics professor who advised Bernie Sanders. Her name is Stephanie Kelton.
She's great.
Yeah, she's over at Stony Brook University. So she just
Yeah.
she has a lot of scientific economics articles just arguing about how the federal functioning works, and her argument seems to be that just as taxes have not increased dramatically to pay for the wars, they wouldn't have to increase necessarily to fund these great programs that we're talking about. So this is the modern monetary theory that people are talking
So
about.
let's take a little bit of a break, and we'll do an extra little segment here to continue, but we are winding it down now. So thank you, guys.